The little boy stood frozen in the hallway, a tableau of innocence interrupted. He wasn't sure what had just happened, but he knew, deep down, that something had shifted, something had changed in the atmosphere of his home. The air, once filled with the promise of play and laughter, now felt heavy, thick with unspoken tension. His building blocks forgotten, lay scattered around him, monuments to a game unfinished, a world of imagination abruptly abandoned. The vibrant colors of the plastic bricks seemed to dim, their cheerful promise now a stark contrast to the sudden chill that had settled over him. His mother's tired voice cut through the silence, a sharp, unexpected sound that shattered the fragile peace of the afternoon. It was a voice he knew well, a voice that usually offered comfort and encouragement, but today it carried a different weight, a different tone. Why can't you just be good for once? The question hung in the air, a barbed hook finding purchase in his young heart. It wasn't a question he could answer, not because he didn't want to, but because he simply didn't understand. "You're not good enough." The words landed with a thud, heavy and final. They weren't shouted, they weren't delivered in anger, but their quiet certainty made them all the more devastating. The words weren't loud, they were almost a whisper, a murmur of disappointment, but they hit him hard, like a physical blow, stealing the air from his lungs and leaving him breathless. He stared at his hands, small and unremarkable, suddenly unsure of himself, questioning their ability to build, to create, to be worthy. He didn't know what he'd done wrong. He was simply existing, playing, being a child, only that he'd failed, fallen short of some invisible standard he didn't even know existed. The world around him seemed to shrink, the walls closing in, the hallway becoming a narrow, confining space, her words echoing in his mind, bouncing off the walls, amplifying the feeling of inadequacy. He didn't cry, not yet. Confusion clouded his face, a mixture of hurt and bewilderment, struggling to understand the sudden shift in his mother's affection. As a hollow ache settled in his chest, a dull, persistent pain that felt both unfamiliar and deeply unsettling. The tower he'd built with pride, a testament to his creativity and perseverance, now looked small and pointless, a fragile structure easily toppled by a few careless words. "You're not good enough," became a whisper he couldn't shake, a constant refrain playing on repeat in the back of his mind, eroding his confidence and dimming his spirit. This is how it starts. A single phrase, spoken in frustration, a moment of parental exhaustion, planting a seed of doubt, a tiny seed with the potential to grow into a towering tree of insecurity. A child's self-image is shaped by the words of those they love most, their parents, their caregivers, the people they trust implicitly. When those words are harsh, critical, or dismissive, the mirror cracks, reflecting a distorted image of the child's true potential, and the child sees only flaws, imperfections magnified by the fractured surface, obscuring their inherent worth. Instead of questioning the parent, challenging the validity of their words, the child questions themselves, internalizing the criticism and accepting it as truth. The echo of a hurtful word can shape a lifetime, its reverberations extending far beyond the initial moment of impact, impacting choices, influencing the paths we choose to take, the opportunities we pursue, relationships, affecting our ability to connect with others, to trust and to love, and the ability to feel joy, dimming the light within and casting a shadow over our capacity for happiness. Criticizing a child's appearance is especially toxic. Comments like, "You're getting chubby," or "Why are you so short?" teach children their bodies are wrong. These words spark insecurity and body image issues that can last a lifetime. Children may become obsessed with their looks, avoiding mirrors and social situations. Instead of loving themselves, they learn to see their bodies as problems to fix. The parent's words become an inner critic, fueling shame and self-doubt. Criticizing appearance teaches that worth is conditional, tied to looks, not character. It robs children of the freedom to be themselves and to feel loved for who they are. Shaming questions like, "Why do you act so weird?" or "What's wrong with you?" aren't real questions. They're judgments. Children hear, "The way you are is wrong." This creates anxiety and self-consciousness, making kids second-guess every move. They learn to hide their quirks, performing a version of themselves they hope will be accepted. Social interactions become stressful, filled with fear of embarrassment. These questions can haunt them into adulthood, fueling a sense of being an outsider. Instead of celebrating uniqueness, children learn to suppress it. Individuality becomes a liability, not a strength. The result, a child who feels fundamentally flawed for simply being themselves. the sting of these questions lingers, shaping identity and self-worth. Words have power, immense power. They can build up, they can tear down, and some words leave scars that never truly fade. Among the most devastating, the most deeply wounding, are those that express a wish that a child didn't exist. These are words that strike at the very core of a person's being. Phrases like, "I wish you were never born," words that carry the weight of utter rejection and unbearable regret, or, "I regret having you," a statement that can shatter a child's sense of self-worth and belonging. These aren't just criticisms or moments of anger, they are total rejections of a person's fundamental right to exist. For a child, still forming their understanding of the world and their place within it, this shatters their sense of safety. It destroys their sense of belonging within their family, the very foundation of their world. The message, delivered with such force, is clear. You are a mistake. You are a burden, an unwanted presence, unlovable in your very essence. This kind of rejection can lead to deep, pervasive feelings of worthlessness, a belief that one is fundamentally flawed and undeserving of love or happiness. It breeds despair, a sense of hopelessness that can be difficult to overcome. The wound is lasting, a deep scar on the psyche. Adults who heard these words as children often struggle with profound self-esteem issues, constantly questioning their value and fearing judgment. These wounds also impact their relationships, making it difficult to form secure and trusting bonds. They may fear rejection, anticipating abandonment and criticism at every turn. As a defense mechanism, they might push people away, creating distance to avoid the potential for hurt. Or conversely, they may desperately seek validation from others, constantly seeking reassurance to fill the void within. A parent's selfish wish, spoken aloud, irrevocably destroys a child's fundamental sense of belonging, leaving them feeling isolated and alone. It leaves a void that's incredibly hard to fill, a deep emptiness that echoes through their life. It's a profound violation of trust, a betrayal by the very people who are meant to protect and cherish them. It's a wound that can haunt a person for life, shaping their perceptions and influencing their choices in ways they may not even realize. Making a child feel like a burden is subtle but deeply damaging. Phrases like, "You cost me so much," or "You exhaust me," place guilt on a child's shoulders. Children learn to suppress their needs, becoming quiet and invisible to avoid causing trouble. This leads to loneliness and isolation, as they believe their needs don't matter. As adults, they may struggle to ask for help or feel guilty for needing support. They often become givers, never receivers, feeling unworthy of care. The message, "You are a liability, not a gift," this erodes self-worth and makes it hard to feel loved. Comparing a child to others, "Why can't you be more like your sister?" is deeply harmful. The message, "You're not good enough as you are." This breeds resentment, jealousy, and rivalry, damaging sibling relationships. Children lose sight of their own strengths, always measuring themselves against others. They may become overly competitive or give up entirely, believing they'll never measure up. Their sense of worth becomes fragile, dependent on praise and comparison. A parent's job is to nurture individuality, not extinguish it with comparisons. Verbal abuse and threats of abandonment are among the most damaging forms of toxic communication. Words like, "You're stupid," or threats like, "If you don't behave, I'll leave you," attack a child's core. These words become an inner critic, undermining confidence and fueling self-doubt. Threats of abandonment create deep trust issues and anxiety. Children may become clingy or fearful, struggling to form secure relationships as adults. They learn to build emotional walls, expecting pain from those who should protect them. The scars are invisible but profound, shaping worldview and self-worth. Healing from these wounds often requires immense strength and support. Toxic words from childhood become the blueprint for adult life. Constant criticism and threats create deep-seated anxiety and self-doubt. Adults may chase perfection, hoping to silence their inner critic, but find only exhaustion. Trust issues and fear of abandonment make relationships difficult. Many struggle to accept love, feeling unworthy or expecting rejection. The patterns learned in childhood repeat, fueling cycles of conflict and misunderstanding. Joy and self-compassion are hard to find when negativity shapes your inner world. Healing means learning to be kind to yourself, often for the first time. Even when the scars run deep and the memories cast long shadows, remember this. Healing is not only possible, but it is your birthright. It's a journey, not a destination, and every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. The first step on this path is recognizing that the critical inner voice, the one that whispers doubts and negativity, is not your own. It's an echo, a reverberation from the past, often learned in childhood. Healing, therefore, means actively challenging that voice, questioning its validity, and understanding its origins. It's about reclaiming your inner narrative and replacing it, consciously and consistently, with kindness and unwavering self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same gentleness and understanding you would offer a dear friend. Therapy can be an invaluable tool to help rebuild self-worth, providing a safe space to explore your past and develop healthier coping mechanisms. It allows you to unpack old pain, process difficult emotions, and gain a deeper understanding of yourself and your patterns. For parents striving to break cycles of negativity, mindful communication is absolutely key. It's about being present and intentional in your interactions with your children. This means choosing your words with care, even and especially in moments of frustration. Take a breath, pause, and consider the impact of your words before you speak. Actively replace criticism with genuine encouragement, focusing on effort and progress rather than perfection. Transform comparisons, which can breed resentment and insecurity, with heartfelt celebration of each child's unique strengths and talents. And replace threats, which instill fear and anxiety, with gentle reassurance and a sense of safety and security. Kindness, in all its forms, is the most powerful antidote to toxic words and damaging patterns. Simple phrases, spoken with love and sincerity like, "I love you just as you are," or "I'm here for you always," can work wonders to heal old wounds and build a foundation of trust and security. These words, consistently expressed, teach children that they are inherently valued, unconditionally loved, and undeniably safe. Ultimately, creating an emotionally safe and nurturing home environment is perhaps the greatest gift a parent can give to their child. And if you're on your own journey, healing from a painful childhood, please know, deep in your heart, that you are absolutely worthy of peace, joy, and unconditional love. Let's consciously choose to use our words to nurture, to support, and to heal, creating a ripple effect of positivity that extends far beyond ourselves, so that every child, everywhere, grows up feeling deeply loved, cherished, and secure in the knowledge of their own inherent worth.